Hello again to another Agricolor Reaction. Today we will be watching 25 facts about the geography of Canada. And I think if it's Canada, it's kind of like, always think that it's cold. I'm actually really cold today, so I'm sitting here bundled up in the blanket, struggling with some technical difficulties, and I'm just now going to bore you with that. So basically, let's just start and see what I don't know about Canada, because I like to think that I know a bit about Canada, but I don't think I know everything. I probably know more about states, but still not everything, obviously. So let's just watch.
It's hard to argue against the fact that Canada is one of, if not the single most geographically beautiful countries on the planet.
Well, if you show in places like
that.
that.
It's a gigantic country with so many different terrains and landscapes to offer. Search Google or YouTube the world's most beautiful countries, and I guarantee Canada will be in the top 5 or 3, if not first. So in this video we're going to give you 25 interesting facts about Canada's geography. We'll start off with some quite basic and general facts before moving on to some more intriguing and lesser known ones. So first things first, let's start with its size. As mentioned earlier, it is gigantic. So coming in at just under 10 million kilometers squared, Canada is the second largest country on the planet, only behind Russia. 10 million kilometers squared is roughly the same size as Oceania and Africa's largest countries combined. That's Australia and Algeria. This is how Canada compares to the size of Europe, South America, and Central Africa. It is worth noting, however, that Canada's size is horribly distorted on a traditional world map, which makes it look bigger than it actually is. Number 2. According to the World Factbook and the World Resources Institute, Canada has the most coastline out of all countries on Earth, and by quite some distance. The prior states 202,000 kilometers and the latter 265,000 kilometers. For reference, Norway comes in second with just 83,000 kilometers. Number 3. At around 52,500, Canada ranks 4th in the world for the country with the most islands, only behind the Nordic countries of Sweden, Norway and Finland. This comes to no surprise, as when you look at Canada on a map, its northern regions are dominated by islands. The big difference between Canada's islands and the islands of the Nordics is that Canada's are much larger. Speaking of large islands, Canada is home to the world's largest uninhabited island. At around 55,000 kilometers squared, Devon Island is ever so slightly smaller than the country of Croatia. The island is found here, deep in Canada's north, not too far from the shores of Greenland. Number 5. At an unbelievable 880,000, Canada ranks first in the world for the country with the most lakes. It has over 4 times the amount of second place Russia, and in fact more lakes than the rest of the world combined. A truly insane fact that is hard to believe.
Can you imagine the amount of those lakes? 800,000 lakes. Like, seriously, that's a serious amount of lakes. I'm trying to kind of see what I'm actually doing on the other screen because the laptop is a bit too big. Yeah, but 879,000 lakes. That's just... I can't even imagine the amount of lakes. That's that kind of amount. Can you try to imagine trying to see all of them? I don't think that lifetime would be enough. I know you probably could go and see like 1 or 2 because they're probably close. Like I hear that Alaska have a lot of lakes as well. So it would be just impossible to do something like that, I guess. Maybe it would be possible. You know, just in, look, out, go for another one. In, look, out for another one. You know, things like that. Maybe it would be possible, but still, that's a lot of lakes. Huh. You would need like a lot of time to spend to actually just travel to them. And a lot of those lakes are probably in like really hard to get to places as well. So yeah, let's see what else you have to say.
of interesting, however, is that 3 of its 5 largest are all shared with the US, as they sit on the border of the two countries. These lakes being Superior, Huron, and Erie respectively. Number 6. Found in Canada's northwest, not far from its border with Alaska, you will find Mount Logan, whose peak is the highest point across the entire country, standing some 5,250 meters tall. This also ranks it as the second tallest mountain in all of North America, and the 7th tallest across all of the Americas. Number 7. Now, when
Wow.
you think of Canada, do you think of it as a hot or cold country?
Both, I think.
Generally, I see it as rather chilly. However,
No,
this
winter,
isn't
but you
always
have
the
nice
case, as
summer.
temperatures can get extremely hot here. In fact, the highest temperature ever recorded was a sizzling 49.6 degrees Celsius
Whoa.
in British Columbia in June of 2021. On the other hand,
Crazy.
the coldest temperature ever recorded in the country was a mind-boggling minus 63 degrees Celsius. That's a temperature range of 112.6
Crazy.
degrees Celsius. Number 8. In terms of the entire country's extreme points, this is as far north as you can get. This is as far south as you can get, and as far west and far east. The distances between these points is truly staggering. Its north to south is similar to Finland to Egypt. Number 9. Excluding countries with overseas territories
not-
spread out across the world, Canada, alongside Russia, sets the record for the country touching the most oceans. Canada has coastline along the Atlantic, Pacific, and Arctic Oceans. Number 10. When it comes to subdivisions of countries, Canada is home to the 5th largest on the planet. Nunavut, which is found in the country's far northeast, covers an area of just under 2 million kilometers squared. If this region became its own independent country, it would rank as the 14th largest. That's larger than Mexico, Indonesia, or Sudan. Number 11. Canada only has one land border, which sets an impressive record as the longest on Earth. This border is shared with the contiguous US to the south and with Alaska to the west, totaling some 8,891 kilometers in length. The Alaska-Canada portion of this border accounts for just over a quarter of the entire length. Number 12. At some 3.5 million kilometers squared, Canada is the country with the 3rd most forest on Earth, only behind Russia and Brazil. 3.5 million kilometers squared, by the way, is larger than the country of India. When it comes to the amount of individual trees, Canada is thought to rank 2nd with around 320 billion. But when it comes to trees per capita, Canada smashes most countries on Earth, with around 95,000.
Per person?
Number 13. Canada is divided into 15 major terrestrial and 5 marine ecozones. Some of its major biomes are the tundra, boreal forest, grassland, and temperate forest. Number 14. The distance from mainland Canada's most eastern to western point is 5,000 kilometers. That's about the same distance as the crow flies as a distance from London, England to Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. In doing so, you would pass through 12 different countries along this route. Number 15. Canada isn't a country that is particularly known as a country that sees many natural disasters, or big ones for that matter. It does of course get them, but nothing like the ones you'll see in India, the Philippines, or in the Caribbean, for example. However, in 1775, Canada experienced its deadliest ever natural disaster, excluding diseases. The 1775 Newfoundland hurricane is thought to have killed over 4,000 people. The hurricane was so big that there's actually debates whether it was 1 or 2 combined. Number 16. Although Niagara Falls is possibly the most famous waterfall in Canada, and the US for that matter, it is nowhere near the tallest, as that belongs to James Bruce Falls, which has a height of 840 meters, ever so slightly higher than the Burj Khalifa
so
in
nice.
Dubai. Number 17. At 1.23 million kilometers squared, the Hudson Bay is the world's 2nd largest bay, only after the Bay of Bengal, which is roughly double the size, by the way. For reference, 1.23 million kilometers squared is a larger area than the country of South Africa, or in terms of water, just over 3 times larger than the Caspian Sea, which is technically the world's largest lake. Number 18. Alert is said to be the world's most northerly permanently inhabited settlement, although the people that live there are only there for work purposes and only there temporarily. However, in this settlement, for roughly 151 days of the year, that's from the 14th of April to the 29th of August, the sun simply does not set. This phenomenon is known as the midnight sun. The opposite is also true, in which the sun doesn't rise for some 136 days from the 14th of October until February 27th. This is known as the polar night. Number 19. When it comes to UNESCO World Heritage Sites for natural geography, Canada ranks equal third in the world with 11, tied with Russia. Some of its most notable sites being of course the Rockies, its Dinosaur National Park, and most recently Anticosti, which is the largest island found in Quebec and home to many records of prehistoric life. Number 20. At an average elevation of 487 meters, Canada is higher than most countries on Earth. The topography of the country looks like this, with the west part of the country being notably higher than, say, the southeast. At 1,128 meters, British Columbia on average is the highest province. If British Columbia were its own country, it would rank as the 24th highest. Number 21. If sea levels around the world were to magically decrease by 1,000 meters, this is how Canada would look. It would likely add another few million kilometers squared of land onto its already gigantic size. Most of its lakes and its Hudson Bay would also cease to exist. Its territory would expand into Greenland, connecting the two landmasses together. Number 22. Canada is home to the world's largest vertical drop. Found in the country's deep northeast, not far from Greenland, you will find Mount Thor, which looks like this. If you were to step off the edge at the peak, you'd fall for an incredible 1,250 meters. That's 1.5 Burj Khalifas. You'd easily reach terminal velocity before smashing to your inevitable death. Number 23. At just 2.6 kilometers squared, which for reference is smaller than New York's Central Park, Canada is home to the world's smallest desert. Well, kind of. The Cracross Desert is found in Canada's northwest, not far from its border with Alaska. Although it appears to be of desert-like conditions, it doesn't meet the official desert requirements. Number 24. Now, looking at this map of Canada, where would you expect its geographical center point to be? Well, the center point of the country is actually slightly disputed, but a lot of sources have it as this point right here in the province of Nunavut, not far from the Hudson Bay. And finally, number 25. So as mentioned earlier, this is Canada's most southern point. Now, when you imagine Canada, you just picture it sitting above the US, right? Well, that is technically true, but also kind of not true in this regard. This point here is actually further south than 14 US states. It's in fact so far south that it's more southern than both North and South Dakota. Another one that's hard to believe is that this point is only 1,200 kilometers from Florida. So there we have it, 25 interesting facts about the geography of Canada. If you can think of any others, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more geography content, and as always, thank you very much for watching.
That was cool. I learned a lot. Things about the most northern, western is always kind of interesting. The center of the country, it's kind of, yeah, it's pretty much I'm finding it's always disputed in somewhere, isn't it? Yeah, that was really, really good. The views, the pictures. Canada is a beautiful country for sure. From what I've seen. Pictures and videos, it's absolutely amazing and breathtaking, so would love to go and visit it someday. So yeah, have you been into Canada? Would you like to go and visit? And what would you recommend if you've been? What's the place that you would recommend in Canada? If you're going to see one place in Canada, what place should, if I would be planning, what place should I go and visit? One place in Canada. Thank you very much for watching, and I see you tomorrow. Bye!